Hey everybody, it's Leanna, and we're going to learn to do something really fun today. I'm going to walk you through the steps to make this super cool photo garland. So I've made this using the Creative Memories National Scrapbook Day recipe kit, and you can actually make one too. So it's cardstock paper. I've got a few fun stickers, and then I've just myself provided a little bit of twine to bring this across. And I've put white paper in, and maybe I'll move that up a little bit closer, but you could actually put photos. So that's meant so you could put photos there, and then you could string this up on a door or a wall or something really fun. So let's get started showing you how we're going to do this. So let me just spotlight my hands, and that way you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So in order to make the photo garland, you will need a couple of tools. So I'm just going to move over a little bit here. So I'm using as base my Creative Memories cutting mat, which is just really nice because it has measurements on it and you can use that. But I'll be doing most of the cutting with the Creative Memories 12-inch trimmer. And actually for this, you pretty much need a trimmer. And I'll be showing you some really fun tricks with that. I do have a hole punch just to punch little holes so you can string your garland pieces on. And then I've got the micro tip scissors and the tape runner. And I'm using a repositionable tape runner in case I don't get things quite aligned. I can move them about. But I would say the two most important tools that you need is the adhesive, the tape runner, and the trimmer. So as I noted, we will be using the National Scrapbook Day Project Recipe Kit. And so the kit has everything you need to make the photo garland. So I'm just going to open it up and show you what's in here. We won't be using the actual recipe for this since we're kind of doing our own thing here. But we will use the sheet of stickers that comes with it to decorate. And then we have all of this designer paper. It's all two-sided, and you get two pieces of each print. And they're just these really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hues of blue and green. I love this print. It almost looks like vellum on it. And then you have this striped print. And on the back, you've got this kind of dark black with the blue-green designs. So again, two sheets of that. And then this one is also gorgeous. It almost looks like a watercolor. So I love that print. And then on the back, you have this nice symmetrical white. So you get these 6 pieces of designer paper, and then you also, most importantly, get these 2 pieces of coordinated cardstock. And we're going to use the cardstock to make the banners for the photos. So for that, we'll be using our 12-inch trimmer. So what's really important with your trimmer, you want to go ahead and put the arm out. There's a little foot on the bottom, so we'll make sure that we stand our little foot up. That just gives it some stability as you're using it. And right now, I have in just the regular blue straight blade, so we'll be cutting straight lines. Now, if you look, so I'm just gonna pull a part of the banner over here. So the base piece is 5 by 7, and I specifically chose to have that size so that you could fit a 4 by 6 photo on, or a 4 by 6 mat, and then trim your photos down. So the 5 by 7 piece is a perfect size if you're using 4 by 6 photos. Now, we have a piece of cardstock, and cardstock generally comes in 12 by 12. So if I'm trying to cut 5 by 7 out, if I cut a 5-inch strip down here, and then another 5-inch strip in 7, I'd only be able to get 2 mats off of one piece of paper. So if I just decided first to do a 5-inch cut and then trim up 7, another 5-inch cut, I would have 2 inches left over, but I'd only get 2 of the 5 by 7 mats out of this, and I would have a lot of scrap paper left over. So what I want to show you how to do using your Creative Memories trimmer is what we call the magic cut. And that's going to allow us to get 4 mats out of 1 sheet of paper. So you won't have a lot of scraps and pieces of paper left over. So in order to do that, we're going to want to be able to cut down 7 over 5, 5, 7. So again, our paper is 12 by 12. And if you add up 7 inches by 5 inches, which are the 2 dimensions of the rectangle we're cutting, that adds up to 12. So you would have a 7-inch cut, and then you would have 5 inches left over to have a mat cut in the other direction. This may not make sense right now, but it will as we're cutting. So with your Creative Memories trimmer, again, you've got this nice ruler that runs across the top, so you could measure. So right here we have the 5-inch mark, so we could easily do 5 by 7. And then this darker mark down here tells me that 7-inch. Now, if you look on the cartridge of the cutting blade, where the cutting blade sits, it has this white line on it. I think you can see it here. And if, for example, I lined up that white line here, which is the 7-inch mark, I would know that I am cutting just to 7 inches on my paper. Now, another little trick to know is between the mark where it shows you where your blade is cutting and the end of this cartridge where the blade sits is exactly 1 inch, right? So if I'm cutting and my line is on 7 inches, the end of the cartridge is actually at 8 inches. Now that's important because I'm going to show you a little hack. We want to cut just to 7 inches, and I want to make sure that I'm not going further than that. So what I have right here is just a little binder clip, and I'm going to stick that on the rail that the cutting cartridge runs down, and I'm going to make sure that the edge of it, and you can see here that the edge of this is right on 8 inches. And let me just make sure I get that exactly right. Okay, so what that means, when I press down and use my cutter, it's going to hit that, and I'm going to know that the blade where it's cutting is exactly at 7 inches. So hopefully this all makes sense to you. But here we go. We're going to lift up the cutting arm. Now, again, I want 5 by 7, and I've got my 7 inches marked this way. So I'm going to put the edge of my paper on the ruler to 5 inches. Okay, then I put the arm down. So I'm going to be cutting a 5-inch mark. I press down on my cartridge. I bring it down, and oop, my little paper clip stops me right at the 7-inch mark. Okay, so we've just made a 7-inch mark 5 inches into the paper. What we're going to do is lift up the arm. We're going to take our paper and turn it counterclockwise. Put it back in at the 5-inch mark. Okay, don't press. You want to get your blade to the end there. Okay, so once again, I've got my paper lined up on the 5-inch ruler. I'm going to cut 7 again, and I think I moved that slightly, but my binder clip stops me. Okay, so here's my first 5 by 7 mat. Once again, I'm going to turn my paper counterclockwise, a quarter turn, 1/4 turn, and line it up at 5. I cut down. That's a second mat that I've gotten out of my sheet of paper. Okay, and I'm just going to do that quarter turn again. Line up at the 5-inch. Okay, come down. My 7-inch cut. There's my third mat, and that actually made a 4 mat. So I have 4 mats that are exactly 5 by 7. So and a little square, which I could save that because I'm sure I can use that for some decoration or something on a page. But that magic cut, again, just allows you to get 4 mats out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper without wasting a lot of paper. So we've done it with the kind of light blue that was in our project recipe kit. I'm just going to do it once again. So we'll run through this really quickly. But if you recall, because I'm doing 5 by 7 mats, I've got my binder clip on here so that my blade won't move any further than cutting 7 inches. Okay, so I line up at 5, put the arm down, run the blade just until it bumps into the binder clip I put on, one of my life's little hacks. Just turn, we're going to do that again. Okay, my first 5x7 mat, turning it 1/4 of an inch counterclockwise, lining up 5 inches. Again, cutting. My second mat, I do one more turn to 5 inches. I cut, and my last 2 mats are released. And again, I have this little, it's a 2x2 square, which I'll set aside because I'm sure that I will use that for something. So now we have the base mats for our garland. And if you'll recall then, I also had cut the bottom a little flesh out, so it looks much more like a banner. So I'm going to show you how to do that also using your 12-inch trimmer. So with this, what I want to do, you'll notice on your 12-inch trimmer, you have a 45-degree angle line. If I were cutting exact 45-degree angles, I could line my paper up there. But I actually want to do a much smaller flesh. I don't want 45 degrees because it won't leave enough room for a 4x6 photo. So I kind of played around with this a little bit. And what I found is if I put the corner, and you will see on your cutting mat, there's a dotted line, and that's exactly where your blade cuts. So what you want to do with your paper is go ahead and put the corner of one side right on the blade, where on the blade line where it'll start cutting. And then the other corner, I'm putting on the, I believe it's a 1.5 inch line. So you've got a ruler that runs off to the right here too. So this corner is on the cutting line, and then the opposite corner you put on the 1.5 inch line. So it's lined up. And then I'm just going to eyeball it. But what you're going to want to do is just cut about halfway through the paper to the middle point. So I think that's, right about here. Okay. Once I've done that, then I flip my paper over and I do the same thing. I line up one corner on the cutting line, and I line up the second corner on the 1.5 inch mark. So again, just make sure, hold your corners down, make sure they're in the right place. Close the arm. And again, you just run this about halfway. There you go. And I've cut this little piece out. Again, I set that aside. I can use that at some point for decoration. So as you see, we've got the little flesh mark that makes the banner for your paper. And then the last really piece to making the base is just using a paper punch. If you have any, you could use any side. I have this one that's a little bit smaller, which I liked. If you use bigger holes, sometimes they kind of run they'll slide around a little bit if you're using twine. So I'm just going to punch the two corners. And that gives me the base piece. So now I'm not going to do all of that, but you would just repeat that step with however many pieces of the cardstock. So if you had 4 photos, you could do 2 of the dark blue and 2 of the light blue. If you had up to 8 photos that you wanted, you would have all 8, and I would go ahead and cut the flesh out of the bottom. So then the next thing that we're going to do is we want to kind of decorate the paper. And so I'm going to take, I think, this really pretty clover leaf, and it's got the blues and the greens, and you'll see actually that this paper is really well coordinated with the colors in here. And I'm just going to cut a mat that's 4x6. So in order to do that, I would go ahead and cut, and I'm going to do the magic thing again. So because I want 4x6, I'm going to put my binder clip at the 7-inch mark. I've got this at 4. Just going to slide down. Now I'm just going to turn my paper this way. I'm going to put it at the 6-inch mark. And then I'm just going to move now my blade down without pressing. And I'm going to line up my line with the 4-inch mark. and cut my mat up. And again, that just saves paper. If I cut the whole straight 4 inches, I may not be able to get the next size out of it. So that just allows me to save a little paper. So I've cut this out and I think, I really like this decoration. So I'll just go ahead and get my repositionable tape runner. A little bit of tape on and tape that down. Now I could then put a piece of photo on here that I've matted. I would probably come over and once my photo is down and pick out maybe some 4-leaf clovers or these really nice dragonflies or a little saying and go ahead and decorate that up. And so once you've decorated it, you've got your banner. And again, I just used some twine that I happen to have around, but you could also, I'm getting a little bit tangled up here. You could also use cooking twine if you happen to have some. What am I doing here? In the, wow, I'm really tangled up. Oh, there we go. Here is the end. Yes, I was going the right way. So you could actually take cooking twine if you had that. I did try some thin ribbon and I thought it was a little bit too thin and it the photos were kind of floating around. So then what I would do is make sure when you go to twine this on that you go in from the front and that's so the twine isn't running across the front of your photos and decorations. And you just pull that through. This twine is a little bit irritating. So maybe you'll have some straighter twine that's not quite as irritating. And then just come back up through. And there you go. And then I just took some of the designer paper and just cut strips and made little fleshes in them so that I could have these pieces in between on my banner. So again, here's just, I'll lay this out so you can see, just kind of alternated the different colors of paper. Here I would use 2 smaller photos with a sticker in the middle. So there's so much you can do to decorate this. So I hope that you will have fun with National Scrapbook Day. And maybe what I will do is bring myself back up. Let me go back here so I can see you or you can see me actually. Yeah, so again, this is just, we've added this one to the end, but there you go. That's your photo garland. So I hope you enjoyed doing this. And again, to make it, you just need 1 National Scrapbook Day project recipe kit. They're just $12.50. So that's pretty great. And then I would actually suggest that you do have the 2 basic tools, which is the 12-inch trimmer. There's so much you can do with that. And then a repositionable tape runner. So let me know if you're interested. If you want to order the kit or the tape runner, you can either do that on my website or I'm happy to help order that for you. Have a great day. Bye.